Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be talking about Fushaa versus Amiyya, or Al-Lahjat, or MSA Arabic versus the dialects. So the first point, and the obvious point, is to point out what's your goal in learning Arabic. What is the reason you want to learn Arabic? Because this is going to then determine the path that you take. So is it to learn your religion? Is it for business purposes? Is it for you're going to be moving country? Is it for to be forming relationships with people? Maybe you've got family from a certain Arabic speaking region. All of these things are going to play a factor in your decision of whether you want to study اللغة العربية الفصحى أو اللهجات. So either MSA or the dialects, or one of the dialects, should I say. So for us as Muslims, it's pretty clear and obvious that our priority would be Fusha, because that is the language of the Quran, the Sunnah, the speech of the scholars. This is the key to our religion. This is the key to seeking knowledge of our religion. Not only that, but just functioning as a Muslim. You know, to understand what's being recited in the prayer, and just be able to just open the Mus'haf and just read the book of Allah and understand what He's saying to you. You know, how can you take guidance from a book if you can't understand what it's saying? You know, so Fusha, without a doubt, is the priority for us. I would say that, you know, if you do want to learn a dialect and you're Muslim, there's no problem with this. Like, you know, everybody can have a hobby. If you want to, you know, if you want to play football, go play football. If you want to learn, you know, Egyptian dialect, go learn Egyptian dialect. But the priority is Fusha, so you should put in the majority of your effort into Fusha. And I would say probably leave off the dialects until you get to like a decent level in your Fusha. You might not even want to learn them. You might just be fully concentrated on you want to seek knowledge, you want to be a student of knowledge, you just want to be a normal everyday Muslim and understand the Quran and the Sunnah. For you, leave the dialects. Fusha is the clear one for you. But what happens to a lot of people is that once they start learning Arabic, they get the bug for it, they get the passion for it, and then they start to find out about all the different dialects and they want to speak to Arabs and this and that, and you end up going down the rabbit hole of dialects. I would say if this is you, wait until your Fusha is at like a level where it's like at least intermediate, you know, at least being able to function as a Muslim, understand that the majority of the verses in the book of Allah, you know, the books of the scholars, just even your speaking abilities in Fusha, you know, just make sure they're somewhat alright before you start going down this rabbit hole of dialects, because at the end of the day, a dialect, it's still a language, and some can be very different from Fusha, some are a bit closer, but it's still going to take a lot of time and effort for you to be able to kind of perfect that dialect. And, you know, could you be putting that in a better place? Allahu A'lam. You've kind of got to factor that in and think about it. So, what I would say is that Fusha is like, you could say Fusha is like driving a manual car, and the dialects are like driving an automatic car. Meaning that if you learn the harder one first, then the easier one tends to be kind of easy to get the grasp of. Inshallah. So, if you learn Fusha first, that is like the root of all of the dialects. So if you did want to, you know, branch out once you got to a decent level in Fusha, then, you know, you'd have a very, very good solid foundation of the root of that dialect that you choose. So if your goal is maybe not religious purposes, maybe you're someone that wants to learn Arabic to be able to work in the Middle East, maybe you've got like an online business, or you need to, you know, liaise with like clients, Modern Standard Arabic or Fusha would be the one for you as well, because this is the language that, like, you know, anything that's kind of like business related or formal settings or this kind of thing, it's done in Modern Standard Arabic. So I would still say if your goal is to learn Arabic for like business purposes and to be in like a professional setting, I would say Modern Standard Arabic is the one for you. If you are moving country, and this applies to Muslims and non-Muslims really, if you're moving country and you want to be able to like speak to the people, then you should learn the dialect of that country. If you're Muslim, Like obviously you'll be learning Fusha. But you're still gonna be able to. You're still gonna be able to function with Fusha in that country. But I'd say like if you're gonna be with the people, you'd want to like try to speak to the people as they speak. So I would advise probably to at least dabble a bit and try pick up some phrases and pick up the way that the like locals would speak. If you're non-Muslim and you're not interested in like obviously religious studies or business purposes, and you're strictly just you're gonna move to that country and you want to be able to just talk to the people, forget about Fusha and just learn the dialect. You can learn Fusha if you want for like reading purposes. Maybe you want to read the paper, or generally speaking, anything written in Arabic is generally speaking it will be in Fusha. But I would say put the majority of your effort into learning the local dialect, to be honest. Again, if it's to form relationships with people, maybe you want to get like friends in like certain Arabic speaking regions. Again, if I was you, just learn the dialect. If you want to make friends in Syria, learn the Syrian dialect. Friends in Egypt, learn the Egyptian dialect. Friends in Saudi, learn the Saudi dialect. Or one of them. This is the problem. Which dialect do you choose? For the Muslims and the ones that have started with Fusha and then want to kind of branch off into maybe speaking some different dialects, and you don't have a preference, as in like, or you don't have a reason to learn a certain one, you're not going to move to Egypt or to Saudi or to Syria or to whatever, then in my opinion, this could change. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this a lot. So I might watch this video back in the future and have a different opinion. Allahu A'lam. Right now, I think you've got two choices. Number one is an obvious one that it's like pretty unanimous with anyone that looks into Arabic dialects. They'll say the most understood dialect is the Egyptian dialect. And that's due to their media being spread far and wide across the like Arab lands. Like, years ago they were like the like first people or at the like forefront of like putting out movies and stuff. So you can speak the Egyptian dialect and you will be understood by everyone pretty much, and you'll learn the Cairo dialect most likely. That's the one that people tend to teach. So be careful. Yeah, there is dialects within dialects, which is another rabbit hole that we're not going to get into in this video. Choice number two, I think, would be Nejdi dialect. Nejdi, is a dialect within Saudi Arabia, from the like region of Riyadh, like round there. This dialect, from what I can tell, seems to be closer to Fusha in its pronunciation. They'll change like qaf to g, and maybe dad to dha, and that's about it. So I think this one would be easier to kind of transfer from Fusha into Amiya because the pronunciation's so close, and the verb conjugations seem to be close, and yeah. Egyptian, on the other hand, the pronunciation is very far away from Fusha. There's so many letters that are not pronounced the same. Like dad is za, dha is za, dhal is zay, tha is either ta or sa, qaf is a. It's like hamza. So you'll say like qahwa would be ahwa, or qalb would be alb, qalam would be alam. Whereas in like the Saudi dialect, the qaf it changes to a g, and that's a lot closer to the makhraj as well. So like qalb would be galb. See how close it is? Qalb, galb, or qahwa, gahwa, qalam, galam. It's quite close. The issue though, because now we're thinking, well, obviously Saudi dialect, obviously Najd dialect, it's so close in terms of its pronunciation. Let's chuck another spanner in the mix. There is no resources for it. It is ridiculously hard to find resources for Najdi dialect. Whereas Egyptian dialect, you have plenty of resources. There's books, there's loads of YouTube channels dedicated to teaching it. There's loads of media for it. you're overwhelmed with like the amount of material and learning sources for the Egyptian dialect. Whereas the Najdi dialect, la, you have nothing. It is literally just like, it's so hard. You've got maybe, obviously these days we have like the internet, so we've got YouTube and whatnot, obviously, where you've got maybe vloggers, and maybe the odd cartoon, but it's very limited. So you'd have to maybe try and make some friends from there and get them to teach you, and yeah, it'd be a lot harder to learn. Anyway, yeah, that's the rabbit hole I've gone down before, and I really, it's up to you. You can make your own choice. Do you want the ease of learning in terms of the resources, but it's really far away from the pronunciation, or do you want it to be harder to learn because there's no resources, but it's close to the pronunciation, so therefore easier to transition into? Does that make sense? Anyway, I feel like I've ranted a bit. At the end of the day, us as Muslims, Fushaa. That's the one for us. Unless you're at a decent level in Fushaa, I wouldn't even bother even thinking about learning any of the dialects. You should get your priorities in order, learn Fushaa, get it to a decent level, and even if you don't want to branch out, just stick with Fushaa. You're a Muslim, all your religion is in Fushaa. If you do feel the need to branch out, you've got into the language, you've got into the cultures and this and that and all the different, dialects and the tribes and where they come from and all that kind of stuff, then feel free to go down the rabbit hole of al-lahjat. So that's it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.